Hey everyone, many of us have been having questions about the regional system, how it works and how the grading was actually programmed. In this video, I'm going to show you how the system works and how the grading works. Now, each school that is actually in the competition is going to be sent an email with a link that routes them to the regional site. So, as you can see in my screen, or on my screen, I'm having a D at the name of the school, ABC and D, and then the link is right here. When you click into the link, it's going to be open in a new browser. Now, you're going to be required to log in. When you're logging in, you're going to use the usual usernames and then the passwords you've been using when logging into the training system or the dashboard or the portal. So I'm going to use mine as Nashib and then my password. And please do not worry about choosing the school first, because that has been catered for. Yeah, so this is this, then at that. So yeah, as soon as you log in and the password is right, you're going to be welcomed to this beautiful page. Now the page is having two sides, whereby one side is having two sections. So the one on the left-hand side is having, of course, the regionals, the inter-schools coding competition regionals, and then the instructions. And the one on the right-hand side is having the trial and then the challenge. Now, when you click the trial is a dummy of what is actually in the challenge. Though the trial is not actually recorded, like it's not taken seriously. It just shows you how the system actually works. So the system is designed to have two types of questions. You shall have the quizzes, which is actually intended to test your theoretical part, and then you should also have the competitive coding, which is actually intended to test for your competence in writing code and solving problems. The one you'll be actually having in the training. Now, as you can see, the interface is actually, you can adjust it, So the one for the quiz is having two sides. The instructions, as you can see this side here, and then the answers you're going to choose from. For each answer that you're going to choose, you will be seeing the result in here. For example, if I choose function, I will see the function here, and then you can also choose to clear it. Yeah, as you can see in here, when the time elapses, you are going to be having this model here. And then this model here, or the pop-up, will be a warning that you've reached the maximum, kinda. So you would not be having any other option apart from confirming, and then you proceed to the next question. Another thing maybe I didn't mention earlier is that these questions are going to be randomized. For example, if your friend, like your number 1 might appear as number 10 to your friend, and then it might appear as number 5 to your other friend. So there's no room for copying in here. Another thing, as you're attempting these questions, like I said, this is the trial. So you can go ahead and click blah, 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 blah. Let me just move this quickly so that we don't waste time. Yeah. So now that is all for the quiz. The quiz is going to have a maximum of 30 seconds because we believe that once you know something, you know it. You don't have to think twice about what a data type, what data, like, for example, if someone asks you, what data type is your name? You don't have to think twice, to know that is a string. So they're going to be having a maximum of 30 seconds. That is half a minute. Then the competitive coding questions, they are going to depend. The timing is going to depend on the complexity. Some are going to be 20, 10, 15, but I think the maximum will be 20 or 15. Now, this one is having 4 parts. You can see we have one that has instructions, the one for the answer, we're going to be having the text editor, we're going to be writing the code. The other one is going to be the test cases. We're going to see all the test cases from. This time there are going to be many, not 3. And then the other one is going to be the console. Now, the challenge, of course, is not going to be any different from what you've been seeing in your portals. You're going to have a title, a description, the input format, and the output format, then of course are the test cases, 3 of them. For example, this one in here, this is called a palindrome check. They want us to write a program that checks if a word or a string is a palindrome. A palindrome is that word which reads the same forward and backward. For example, we have an example here which is called, which is rudder. Rudder is a palindrome because rudder, when you spell rudder from like in front, is the same, like it spells the same as when you move it from the back. We have, those of you who are football fans, Liverpool fans, HTK. HTK is a palindrome because HTK is the same either way. Another one is the level. This is also a palindrome, but then hello is not a palindrome. Now, they want us to print yes if a word is a palindrome or if a string is a palindrome. Otherwise, we print no. Since this is a trial, I'm not going to waste time to write code in here. I'm going to just... But then also, if you proceed without answering something, you will be warned that you know you're doing this, but it's going to affect your grades. This is wrong. Are you sure about it? So if you're sure, like you don't know, you don't have something to write, you just press confirm, and then it goes to. I'm going to do the same for the rest of them so that we actually don't waste time. So now that is all for the trial. Then it should also be noted that the questions that are going to be in the trial are going to be different from those ones in the challenge. Are you together? So don't think you're going to cheat exams by starting doing the trial. Now, once you're done, now if you think that you're actually ready, you click the start. Now, when you click start challenge, here we do not play. One, you should know that I shouldn't switch tabs. Switching tabs, I mean, for example, here I have this, you're seeing this inbox Gmail tab. The moment I click this, when I come back to this, you're going to see that I will be submitting the work. And there's nothing you can do about it. That is gone. It is a gone case. Then, also switching windows. I don't know if you guys understand by switching windows, but switching windows means that if, for example, you see I have VS Code here open. If, for example, by any chance, I focus on this, I don't want to switch, because if I switch, when I come back, it's going to be submitted. But if, for example, I come in here, I switch, like I click, the moment I click this and then my focus is on VS Code, the moment I go back, it's going to be submitting itself, and there's nothing you can do. Then, that is that. So you can see in here, I've reached the maximum number of, so now this question is going to be recorded as undone. So, I think I'll talk about that when we want to go to those questions that actually have a lot of time. So in here, I'm being asked, what is the best programming language for data science? So you all know that the best one is, of course, Python. Now, please keep this in mind that these are not going to be the questions you're going to find. Because, like I said, the question you're going to find, for example, they can ask you that, how do we define a function in Python? And then they're going to give you the options. You use the def keyword, use the function keyword, use A, B, C, and D. Okay, let me submit this before my time elapses. I'm going to do this quickly and then do that quickly and then, yeah. So that is that. When you click this, there are still very many. Now, so once your quiz questions are done, then you can go to the competitive coding questions or challenges. Like I said, these questions for the quiz, once again, I repeat this once again, they're going to test for your knowledge about the theoretical part, because this coding that we actually do, the basics, it all depends on the theory. Once you don't have understanding of the theory, you don't have an understanding of how the for loop works, you can't do it in practice. But then if you have an understanding of how these things work theoretically, the practice is actually going to be very, very easy. So now in here, of course, I'm not going to repeat again that we have this, and this parts. I think I said this earlier on when we actually touring with a trial. So now in here, like I said, please, here we don't play. We do not play here. You switch tabs at your own risk. Now, once I switch tabs in here, maybe by mistake, the ones that I've done for the quiz will be submitted, And then these ones that I have not submitted or that I have not attempted just yet, they will go as blank. Now, this is how the grading works. Do not be surprised if someone gets negative scores, because for quizzes, the grading is very simple. Each quiz is going to take a single mark. For every correct quiz, it's going to take a single mark. And then for every wrong, you're going to get 0. No penalties. But then the penalties are going to come in here. And then the other penalty you're going to find is when your code is automatically submitted, meaning that if you switch tabs, you're going to get a penalty of 10 points. I did this because you get the penalty because we assume that you're switching tabs and windows to copy. That is why if your code is automatically submitted, you're going to receive a penalty of 10 points. I think that is now clear. Now, let us go back to the grading of the competitive coding. The competitive coding is having test cases. The ones that you've been actually attempting in the training you've actually been having 3 test cases, and they are all being displayed to you. But in here, you're going to be having 10 test cases, and then when you write code and then submit the code, you're going to be only shown 3 test cases. The rest are going to be hidden. The reason that's why we actually did that is because it came to our notice that most of you, we are writing code that passes the test cases, like in not writing code that solves the problem. And that is not the essence of the competition. So that means that you're going to need to be very careful when writing the code. You should focus on writing code that solves a problem, because trust me, if the code solves a problem, all the test cases are going to pass. You don't have to worry about anything. But then if you only want some to pass, then the rest will fail, they're hidden. Now, with that being said, for every test case that passes, those are 10 points. For example, in here, let's say I write print hello world. I test this code. Let's see what this is going to return. So, like I said, in the console, this is where you see the result from. So I'm having hello world. And you can see that I'm having no test case that actually has passed. This means that at this moment right here on this particular challenge, I'm having negative 100 points. Negative 100 points. Now, let us try to attempt this and see if this actually works. So in here, I'm going to create a string, which is going to be, of course, an input. I think you should be used to this by now, that if you want your test cases to be tested automatically, that should be input. When you say input, it automatically tests for all the test cases. So now I'm going to also create another string, which is going to be called reversed. Reversed string. This is going to be an empty string. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to loop. So I'm going to say for the index in range. Now I want to append, this is what I want to do. I want to get access to every character of the string, and then I append that character to this empty string. So that is what I want to achieve. So I'm going to say for index in range, so I'm going to start at the last one. So I'm going to say len string -1. Then I need to stop at 0. Remember that the range, this one is not included. So I want to stop at 0. Remember, indices one from 0 up to the length of the word -1, which is this. And then I want to decrement. I want to go backwards by 1. So I'm going to say -1. And then in here, let us see if this is actually it. Let me say I want to print the string and then the index. So let us test this and see. So as you're testing, like I said, this is adjustable. You can test this. You can adjust this. So you can see I am having rudder. So, but for you to have a clear picture of what is actually going on, it is better to first hard code this variable here. So if I do this and then I run again, and then I want to see if this one is going to start with B instead of N. Because now with rudder you cannot, because rudder is already a palindrome. But as you're writing this code, please be mindful of the time, this one here, which is actually running here. Because once it elapses, you're not going to be having any other choice apart from submitting the code. So anyways, as it is actually submitting, let us do not waste much time on this. We shall see the result here in the console. But I know it's going to start with B. So as it starts with B, this means that I can get access to every character of this word. So now I can have the reverse keyword and then I can append every character. So I'm going to say string, and then I pass in the index. It's going to be so inconvenient because now this button is also disabled. Let us give it more time. So let us try to do that and see. Oh, it's not going to print anything because there's no print function in here, but it's okay. Yeah, you can see it found none. Now in here, let me try to print out this, but outside the loop. So print this. Let me run this and see. So yeah, you can see it's actually printing it from behind. Now, if it's printing it from behind, then that means I can compare these two words. So what I will do is I'm going to say if the reversed string is actually equal to the string. This means that this word is a palindrome, okay? I'm going to print yes. Let us run this and see what we actually have. Yeah, so is printing, print yes, it found none, so they didn't print anything. Okay, you can even see from here there is none. Okay, no problem. If this string is actually equal to the string, you print yes. Oh, let me change this back to an input. But I doubt if that was the issue, but let us change this and see. I think that was the problem. Now, you can see that, of course, this is it, but then these other test cases don't pass. You can see test case. Now, in here, you can see you've had test case 1 passing, 2, 5, 7, 8, and 9. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 6 times 10. So far you have 10 points. But then, for every test case that fails, you have a negative 7. Like we subtract 7 from what you already have. So this means that you failed 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you failed 4, you're going to get 4 times 7. That is 28. Then you're going to get that 28 points. You take the 28 from the 60 that you already have from in here. And then the difference is what you actually have for this challenge. So that is probably 60 minus 28, that is 32. So this means that you have 32 points for this challenge. So you should be mindful of the code that it must pass the test cases. Like if one test case passes, you have, that is 10. And then if you have one test case passing, that means you have 9 that have failed. So that means you're going to have the negative, that means you're going to have the negative 90 points, negative 70 points, which is, negative 63. Because if one test case passes, that means that 9 have failed. So that means you're going to get the 9 times the 7 points for every test case. That means you're going to be having negative 63. And then you're going to be having 10 points for the one past test case. So when you add the 2, you're going to be having negative 53 points. So once the results come back and then they turn out that you have a negative score, this is where it comes from. So let us cater for this so that we don't get that. I'm going to say else. I'm going to print no. And then once I have that, then I can test the code before I submit it. So let us see what we actually have. So no test case has passed this time. So rather, no. Oh, I see. So if reversed is this, else, okay. So I'm going to add an elif here. So elif reversed string is not equal to the string. Then I can print no. So let us test and see. I hope I don't have to break out of a loop. So it seems that no test case passes. I'm being looped. Okay, I guess I have to break out of a loop. So if this print this, then you break. You still break. Let us see how this actually goes. Just say no, yes, no. Like the loop is continuous, so I guess I have to break. Now if this doesn't work, then you go to the next one. You see the next one. So, still the same case. Some have passed, some have not passed. Now you need to write code that passes all the test cases. If this one fails, then let us resort to something else. Let us create a function. So I'm going to create a function is palindrome. Palindrome. Now this is palindrome is going to take in a string. Let me name it this. So allow me have this code here and then so that we don't waste time. So I loop through this. So I'm going to pass this string here and then also here, also here, also here. So as I have this, well, I don't have to print then, I just have to return. And when I do a return, I don't need this. So all I need is to return that. Return this. Also, I need to return. And of course, I don't need this. When I return, I don't need a break because the return, it automatically stops the iteration. So let me see if this is palindrome. Then I can go ahead and then I print. My function is palindrome, and then I pass in the other string that is actually here, the input. So let us run this and see. So there is an error somewhere. So trace back, palindrome, reversed, unbundle, reversed before assignment. Which one is used before assignment? So local variable, reversed. Oh, so this is got to be here. In fact, I don't even need to check for this here. I just have to return, else I return this. So let us run again and see. So test case has passed. So this is what is happening here. So for no, we expected a yes. So if the reversed string is actually equal to this string, we return yes. Okay. Let us do this one more time. still the same case. It's still the same case. Okay. How are we going to debug this? So def is palindrome, text in this. Okay, no problem. Let us redo it. So I'm going to have a reversed string is going to be an empty this. I'm going to have for index in range. I want to start at the last one, so I'm going to get the tree. I want to start from the very last one, then I want to end at 0, and then I want to decrement. So I'm going to have the reversed tree, then I increment it by the tree, and then I pass in the index. So let us try out this and see. Oh, I've forgotten something. So in here, this function is going to return the reversed string. Yeah, so there is none. That is true. I expected that. So let us see. So this means I'm having radar. So let me go to another test case. So level is still level. Then let us test for hello. So this is hello from behind. So now if I have the word from behind, that means I can go ahead and yeah, I think I've seen the mistake, where the mistake was. Yeah, so we need to test outside a loop, not inside, because for us we are testing inside the loop. So I can go ahead and test. So if the reversed string is actually equal to this string, I can go ahead and return yes. Otherwise, I can return a no. So now if this doesn't work, then something must be wrong with Python, the language itself. Yeah, so you can see this is running as expected, and yeah, you know the joy you can feel when all the test cases actually pass. Yeah, so it is the same joy I'm actually experiencing right now, like, because so now in here, this means that I have 100 points in the bag on only one test, on only one challenge. Now, if you pass all the challenges that you've actually, so just imagine if you're doing 5 challenges, so those are already 500. Now, yeah, that is it. You can see I have green, anyway, like everything is green. So now you can go ahead and submit your code. Now this means that this code is okay. So I can go ahead and submit the code. Unless if time is not on your side, but please ensure not to submit code when all the test cases have not passed. Okay? So because remember, you're going to be doing, if your tendency they are going to represent a school, we are going to get all your points. We add them together. Those will be the points of the school for each of you. Now, this means that if a student has negative points, that means the negative points of one student like this they are going to pull those ones of the others. So please and please, just know, for whatsoever you're doing, you're either making your school excel or fail. But because, like I said, you're going to have negative points in here. If, for example, 3 of your students have negative 300 and the 7 are having, maybe each of them is having 300. So the 300 for each of these ones, the negative is going to suppress the others. So you can see the mathematics will add and you're going to get less points. So that's why I urge all of us that before you submit the code, make sure all the test cases have passed, because you're letting your friends down. You're letting all your friends down. Now, once that is done, then I can go ahead and continue. So this is the FizzBuzz challenge. I'm not going to waste time with this. I'm going to just skip this so that because the other one speaks it, or a factorial of a number. Maybe I can do this one because this one is easier. I'm going to have a number. Maybe I'm going to have an int, then I have an input, and then I need to create a function, factorial. it's going to take in a number n, so need to say that if it is 0, it should return 1. If it is 1, it should return 1, and if it's 3, it should return the factorial of 3. So this means that if the number n is actually less or equal to 0, is actually less or equal to 1, I should return 1. So otherwise, I can return n times, this is what we call recursion, times n minus 1. So in here, I can go ahead and print factorial, and then I pass in the other number. Let me test the code and see if it actually passes all the test cases. So this is okay. Then test case 1, runtime error. So for a 0, we need to get an input. It's supposed to be less, not greater. Jesus. It's supposed to be less. So now let us run and see. Have you ever written code and then you think you're on the right, like it's a sure deal, eh? So I was like that, but then until, I was like, yeah. So now if all the test cases pass, then you can go ahead and submit. Now, if this is the last challenge that you're submitting, you're going to have this pop-up that says, are you sure you want to submit the work? And then once you're sure, you can click confirm. Before I continue, please always have this at the back of your minds that once you've attempted a question, you cannot go back to that previous question. It is once and for, like, you attempt it and then it is gone. You can't go back. Even if you refresh a page 10 times, it will still come back to that current page. So please be very, very careful when submitting or when clicking this next button. So once that is done, you click. Then another thing to understand is that when you make a submission, your submission is going to be, you're going to be seeing your submissions in real time. For example, when I click submit in here or confirm, when the submission is actually done processing, these people, like this committee, will be seeing that they've gotten at these points on this, So in real time, you see how WhatsApp works. Someone sends you a message there and then, boom, it comes. Or even you see that typing. So as someone is typing, you see that someone is typing. So the same case here. The moment you click this button like this, we shall be having a second someone is trying to submit. When the submission is actually done, it's a success, then the submission is going to come in real time, and then you see what. So I was thinking of actually showing you the results once, but then I thought that will demoralize all of you. So yeah, so that is all you need to know about that. So and then I can go ahead and confirm this. So you can see this has been already submitted, so that's why I'm having this error. So now it's going to submit the quizzes first, and then it also submits the challenges last. So let us give it some time so that we see what actually happens. So for when you're submitting quizzes, that will be very quick. But then for the challenges, it might be a little bit longer because it has to run all the test cases of each challenge. And then, it has to compute for everything, the result and the whatever. And so that's why it's actually taking a little bit longer. But I don't know about that. We are going to find a way of scaling it so that it's actually faster. But expect that. And please, when you're submitting, do not refresh a page. Because if you refresh a page, you're not going to submit anymore. Your submissions will be gone. So please make sure you do not tamper. In fact, do not tamper. So now, as you can see, the quizzes failed because I had submitted the quizzes, but then the competitive coding challenges for them, they have been successfully submitted. Now, once you submit, you cannot submit anymore. You can see all these buttons have been they should be disabled. When I think, oh yeah, this is development. I commented out some code, but when you submit code, you cannot attempt it anymore. anymore. So those buttons will be disabled. So it has done this because I had commented out some code, okay? So yeah, that is all you need to know about the regional system, and then just in case there are any changes, they will be communicated, but then that's all you need to know about it. Thank you. Have a nice learning. Bye.